This is Sybert signing in to Tiberium Wars on the map Tournament Dust Bowl for this best of 5 with some poker involved, as this is the Tib Spike split version in the north as the pink nod. This is Shocktreatment. He is Shocktopus. He is Shadow Team rushing his opponent in the south as the Cyan GDI. This is Shocktreatment. Shocktreatment. These guys could not have a more confusing game to talk about if they had tried, with the exception of maybe CJ Hero versus Liquid Hero in StarCraft, but I don't expect many of you to know what I'm talking about there. But for those of you who do enjoy StarCraft, you may indeed remember that. APC's going to be the name of the game for Shocktreatment. But before this game gets too crazy, gets too underway, this is a best of 5 from the recent For the Brotherhood 10 event, organized, of course, by Edvin over on GameReplays.org, which means I will be linking to the replays down below. Both Tib Spikes grabbed by Shocktreatment, so a nice little advantage for him. Ooh! And he gets the Engineer! Dirty boy. He is not a nice fellow. He is getting the kill on that Engineer is very annoying for Shocktreatment, and is definitely a way to kind of tilt Shocktreatment in this map to make him feel worthless, to make him feel bad about all of his life choices. APC is going to be coming in here, and this is an APC loaded with an Engineer, so when it dies, a lot of cash goes down the drain. Trying to do something sneaky there. That also has an Engineer in it. How many Engineers did you build, Shocktreatment? You're going to lose all of them, apparently. But one bike also goes down. So, okay, I don't know what's going on, because Shocktreatment built too many Engineers. He didn't grab any of the Tib Spikes, and he was just going for a quick game loss. Wow, that is it for game number 1. I mean, yeah, he had no power, he had no expansion, he had no production. He lost 1,500 credits worth of Engineers. He got nothing for them. He lost the APCs as well. And Shocktreatment was just going to take that game hands down, but it would have taken another 3 or 4 minutes to get there. That will do it for game number 1. Shocktreatment, not a strong showing in game number 2, but my gosh, we have seen some great matches from this guy in the past, so let's see what happens in game number 2. Which is on pipeline problems, and we should have a little bit longer to talk about this game. But in the north, as the pink GDI, this is Shocktreatment. Up 1-0 in a very quick fashion. And in the south, ooh, power plant. As the Cyan Scren, this is Shocktreatment. Okay, so he went Crane, but he's not... Interesting. So both of these guys, they go power plant and a barracks. This is a very different style opening to the mirror that we saw from the Nod fiasco on the other side of the bracket when Bike Rush and Lumos got to this map. It was an exact mirror, almost down to the nanosecond. But these guys are taking a bit more of an even-keeled, calm approach by the fact that they're building power plants for one, but of course they want that barracks. They want to be able to get that Engineer, but it delays their extra refineries a little bit more. You get that Tib Spike, you get that extra income. They're both hoping to be able to gain that advantage in that way. And, where is this harvester going? Shocktreatment. You insane man. I don't know what this is. He's foregoing the blue Tib and instead sending an extra harvester over to the green Tib. This is not like that other match at all. And it looks like Shocktreatment went for a slightly faster War Factory and slightly slower on the last refinery. And, okay, so that guy's going to be driving all the way back over there to refine the green Tiberium. So a little bit of a weird harvesting path for Shocktreatment, but Shocktreatment going to be feeling good after that last game. That was some weirdness from Shocktreatment, but it was perfectly shut down. No openings for Shocktreatment. A little bit of a sneaky lightning spike coming in here for Shocktreatment. This is not really a problem, although if you start adding on a couple of seeker tanks, this can become problematic for Shocktreatment. He's going to be dropping a power plant, trying to just body block these seeker tanks a little bit here. And that one harvester down about a third of its health, and will not be the focus of Shocktreatment. Shocktreatment, rather. He's going to be trying to go for the kill on this one harvester, using the lightning spike to do as much damage as he can. A watchtower going to be coming down for the defense, but the split of these seeker tanks attacking different harvesters means that I think none of them will actually get eliminated. The lightning spike will go down, this harvester will be safe, and Shocktreatment's attack has been thwarted. On the back end of this, he has base crawled all his way to this expansion field, so he is going to be on that 2-base economy. He's dried up his blue field. He's sold off the extra harvesters, or the extra refineries. He's transferred the extra harvesters, and he has got things cooking on the way, in the way that matters. He is actually a little bit closer to his green field than his opponent is, although his opponent did drop that tier 2. Tier 3 was dropped for Shocktreatment, and he has now got those tripods out on the way, and it looks like he could also be upgrading force fields as well, although maybe he's going for plasma disc launchers or blink packs. I don't even know why you would get those at this point. Wow. Really? I never realized that force field generators was 5,000 credits. I didn't realize that it cost that much. That's crazy. A crazy expensive upgrade. Stasis Shield going to be locking down those couple of Predator tanks and really just slowing down this attack, stopping it a bit in its tracks. Devastator warships here going to be giving that artillery firepower to Shocktreatment's army, and he's going to be looking to hold the line here. You got the refinery buying a little bit of time, but the storm column is now here. This is nowhere near enough firepower for Shocktreatment to be able to bust through that. And these seeker tanks are still... They're causing little bits of problems. I don't think they've killed much of anything. Could sell off that refinery and probably the watchtower as well. But just being annoying, pulling forces back, maybe killing a Predator tank or two, keeping them off of the front lines, keeping them away from the tripods, which now have force fields, which just goes to show you how much money is being spent by Shocktreatment. And yeah, he's got the Devastator warships, so without Juggernauts here on the front lines to be able to shoot the Devastator warships, there is nothing forcing an engagement here from Shocktreatment. He can just shell his opponent for pretty much as long as he wants. And until you start moving forward to actually do something about those Devastator warships, which, you know, they've got force fields so they can take a little bit of punishment and then move on back. But the Sonic Emitter isn't necessarily going to be as much of a help, as much of a friend to Shocktreatment as he would like, because for this exact reason. Firehawks are here. Two of them swing in and almost kill a Devastator warship, but they don't quite manage to get the kill, and they are going to be targeting down these refineries because that's the build radius of Shocktreatment. One AA battery here on the front line may get the kill on one of these Devastator warships, and the expansion point does get taken out just to make sure that there can't be any funny business from either one of these guys. And this is actually causing a huge bottleneck as well, as four harvesters are all trying to refine at the exact same time. Railguns have been purchased for Shocktreatment, an equally expensive upgrade just to be able to get that extra firepower, that wonderful extra damage output on his Mammoth tanks and from his Predator tanks as well. But, signal transmitter. We'll have to see what exactly Shocktreatment has planned for that. It could just be planetary assault carriers, you know. Doesn't necessarily have to be anything else for that. We do have two more portals on the front lines, going to be potentially producing some descents, as that one tripod, I think, going for some EMPs or something. I'm not sure what the point was there. But yeah, two planetary assault carriers pop at the same time, basically. And unfortunately for Shocktreatment, this is not Kane's Wrath. He doesn't have a Redeemer. He's also not playing Nod, but, you know, those planetary assault carriers, they can do some wicked friendly fire when the Redeemer fires off that rage gen. But this is just a slow march forward of Skrin air forces, and even some tripods mixed in as well. A mammoth tank being bled off on the front line, but really the harvesters are the lifeblood of the next couple of minutes for shock treatment, and he is losing everything. 2 planetary assault carriers stacked up on top of each other, going to be taken out by those firehawks. One of them does still remain, but it will get targeted down by the anti-air guns of shock treatment, and this attack is falling a little bit flat, but it is not stopping just yet, especially when a mammoth tank full of health, full of railgun shots, has been grabbed by the mastermind, and it has been able to escape, forcing shock treatment to kill his own forces, as even shock troopers coming up with their plasma disc launchers, but not their blink packs, onto the front line to kill more harvesters. And this is the late game economy of shock treatment, completely down the drain, completely out the window, as the Firehawks are coming in for another run. But there are so many Skrin air forces, even the mastermind going to be running forward, grabbing another mammoth tank before getting eliminated, and the mammoth tank will be able to retreat on backwards. Sniper teams called in to try and even the odds, to try and make things make more sense, as shock treatment has been pushed back, further back, every inch feeling like a mile for this guy, as the Tiberium is that much more out of his grasp. He has been doing a good job of keeping that blue tib completely harvested. Both of these guys have been doing a good job of that, and it looks like the Firehawks may be heading out for a bit of an unconventional bombing run. They're not trying to just kill air units for once in this game, and completely harvesting his own fields with all of his harvesters. Shocktreatment is now moving in and trying to encroach upon the field of his opponent, and it looks like the Firehawks were able to kill the tech center, but I don't know how much of a big deal that actually, well, I guess it'll stop the storm columns from being produced, but he's got all of these forces on his front line. He's got these tripods marching their way forward, and of course the Devastator warships, the planetary assault carriers, they are already here on the front lines. Even a plasma missile battery going to be guarding these guys against the Firehawks from GDI, as one lone Juggernaut is the only artillery answer for shock treatment and Shocktreatment. If he can just push forward a little bit further. Nice snipe on the planetary assault carrier, does a little bit of damage to the other one, but not enough to actually take it down, as 2 Firehawks get eliminated. No, just 1 Firehawk gets eliminated. They come in for another swing, and they're most likely going to be going down as the bits of damage pull away from those Firehawks. Even a couple of tripods marching forward, looking for the soft underbelly of shock treatment, as he has heroically held the line, but he lacks the forces to necessarily continue holding the line. As the Tier 3 goes down, the Tier 2 goes down, the command post gets eliminated by those tripods, and the Grenadiers do get stepped on, as even the War Factory is going to be potentially going down there, as the Harvester gets crushed, and these 2 tripods going for the throat, going for the infrastructure of shock treatment. Oh, these mammoth tanks, they are brave and on the front lines as the planetary assault carriers crash into the ground. But how many more times can you do that, shock treatment? The answer currently is none, as the Tier 2 goes down, the crane goes down, the airfield goes down. Even taking out these power plants would kind of be worth it, just forcing shock treatment to spend money on stuff that doesn't help him win the game. Getting his power plants up and running. Even still, a planetary assault carrier is still here. A whole bunch of rocket troopers were able to get a lot of damage output onto this Devastator warship, and they will be able to kill it as one last rocket fires off there. And wow, Viceroids or Viceroids on the front lines, not something you see very often in a competitive match, as Shocktreatment has been unable to break the will of shock treatment. But this guy, how does he even have any money left? He's like been harvesting just a little bit of tib from there, and he hasn't even been harvesting this blue tib. That's thousands of credits just waiting there to be grabbed by shock treatment. And once again, Shocktreatment firing off with the with the stasis shield, going to be locking down that Juggernaut, locking down those mammoth tanks. Even the watchtower being removed from the equation. The build radius gets pushed back, further back, and every inch helping out Shocktreatment a little bit more in this fight. But now the mammoth tanks are back online. The Juggernaut is back online as well. It gets eliminated as the rocket troopers step forward to help deal that damage to the tripods, pushing them back. But even Shock Trooper is going to be coming up to the front lines to try and help their tripod buddies. Can Shocktreatment reclaim some of these husks and make it worth it? Although this is a fully heroic missile squad mixed in here, as they are going to be able to do some pretty serious damage alongside these rifleman squads to these harvesters and to these Skrin forces. But They will be sacrificed. No, they won't, as actually the buzzer hive does go down before the missile squad gets eliminated. And once again, shock treatment will not be broken. His front line has all but been shattered as yet another planetary assault carrier steps on forward. And finally, this rocket squad will get not eliminated. Both members do actually survive, so they will heal back up to full health, and they will march to live. They will march back to live another day. 3 mammoth tanks desperately low on HP, so low on HP that even a couple of Storm Riders could potentially take them out, as Tier 3 has been rebuilt. And this engagement, I imagine, did not go the way that Shocktreatment would have liked. He was hoping to finish this game off a couple of minutes ago, but somehow Shocktreatment has held the line, has stayed in the game. Is he actually going to be... Okay, no, so he's not going to be healing up these guys in the armory. Wow, everything's been sold off, so it's like this one last hurrah. Shocktreatment has lost so many harvesters on the front line that pretty much the only thing he's got is this one harvester harvesting blue Tiberium. That's going to sustain him for the next minute or two, but that's a lot of cash that he's going to have the opportunity to turn into army forces. And, nope. Okay, so the armory, whatever upgrade was building, it looks like it ended up getting canceled. No, I guess comp armor did finish up there for Shocktreatment. He drops another barracks on the front line. It's going to be a difficult hold. He can't necessarily push in and do any serious damage. I mean, maybe he could overwhelm the Corruptors, but it's going to be hard to overwhelm Corruptors and Buzzer Hives at the same time, as well as all the Buzzers that are already out on the field. Mammoth Tank's now going to be stepping on forward. They're going to be able to target down one Annihilator Tripod very easily. The Devastator Warship doing what it can to help eliminate these Mammoth Tanks, but for now they're standing strong. They don't have a lot of fight left in them, as even the Shock Troopers kill one of them, and this Devastator Warship going for the other one that is retreating as the forces are getting cut to pieces. Shocktreatment with just a last couple of units here on the front lines, trying to protect his Mammoth Tanks and keep them alive, as that is the brunt and the meat of the army, but Shocktreatment has almost nothing left. Rocket Troopers being overwhelmed by the planetary assault carrier, which they're so desperately trying to kill, but unable to destroy in a timely manner as it falls from the sky. And the price that was paid, every unit that Shocktreatment has, the Mastermind running laps around Shocktreatment as the GG is called, and Shocktreatment will be signing out of this game, and we'll be going into game number 3 with an even 1-1 score. Shocktreatment taking it absolutely to the limit after the embarrassing failure that was game number 1. He's showing us the powerhouse moves that he has. He says, I don't need GDI. I'll do it with Scrim. I'll do it with a big Tier 3, Tier 4 army. I'll do it with force fields. I'll do it with planetary assault carriers. And I'll show you that I will bleed you dry in 15 minutes. Check out those resources from Shocktreatment ahead from the beginning. And one advantage is in those early moments where GDI may not be able to spend all of its money, it can continue to bank up indefinitely for the Scran. And when you've got that blue Tib, you can't necessarily spend it all immediately. And sometimes you end up, your harvesters can't quite refine it all, and puts you maybe a little bit behind. But from there, you were able to see Shocktreatment clearly ahead all the way in that income graph. And well played by him. Very well played indeed. That will do it for game number 2. I can't believe that is only game number 2. It feels like we should be 4 games in at this point. But that will do it for this map. Who will take game number 3? Let's find out which way things swing. Which takes us to Tournament Tower in the top left-hand corner as the pink GDI. This is Shocktreatment. In the bottom right-hand corner as the cyan GDI. This is Shocktreatment. Evening things up, and look at that. The engineer is not waiting for an APC. He's not building 3 engineers to try and go for any kind of shenanigans, which ultimately fail. And instead, it's going to be just a... Shocktreatment. You've already got 1 engineer. What do you need a 2nd engineer for, buddy? What do you need these extra rocket squads for, buddy? We may have a little bit of a spicy move coming in here for Shock Treatment. As he drops his War Factory, he's going to be getting at least one APC, possibly a second one on the line. And he's keeping his barracks around for now. So we'll have to see what other decisions he decides to make. With buildings being grabbed on both sides, it's going to be a little bit difficult for this engineer to grab that Tib Spike. And I assume that's what it's for. I guess he could be trying to go for an MCV grab or something. But, it's actually going to be an empty APC in the middle of the map for Shocktreatment, so nothing quite as spicy, although it is going to be, nope, an engineer in the middle of the map on the north, and oh, he actually grabs it, so perfect grab by both of these guys. I cannot believe that that worked that easily, but of course there's no delay on grabbing. Is he going to try and force a sell-off? Yeah, it doesn't work. Nothing actually gets sold off. It was a fake out the whole time. But, nothing actually ends up going on with those extra APCs, so they just traded Tib Spikes literally seconds away from each other, so there really is like net zero is I think the result. Zero-sum game, perhaps, as they may as well have just not produced the engineers and not gone for the Tib Spike capture against each other. But of course, you want to gain the advantage if you possibly can. You don't want to give that away for no reason. Now we see that they have been grabbed now both by Shock Treatment. So he'll get a little bit of cash back for that guy, and that engineer will be able to grab this Tib Spike as well, just a little bit more slowly. And of course, in the middle of the map, the logistics center has been grabbed by Shocktreatment, so he's got that extra bit of vision, he's got that extra bit of confidence about what is going on in the middle of the map from his opponent. And there actually is an engineer in that APC. This is not a fake out from Shock Treatment. There's actually an engineer in this APC as well, so no matter what happened in game number 1, there are lots of engineers in this game as well. It does get spotted in the north by Shocktreatment, so he sees this. He sees that this is a suspicious angle for an APC to be at, and he knows that this is a sneaky thing for a player to do. This APC also does get spotted by those rocket squads, and I don't think it's quite moved in just yet. The engineer is going to try and jump out at the last second. He gets the refinery. He gets the harvester as well. A great move there by Shock Treatment. And look at that. Now, while he's distracted, this engineer is going to be sneaking in over here, but this Predator tank is on the hunt. It's not able to really do anything just yet. That harvester going for a potential kill, and yes, Shocktreatment is on top of this one. He's not going to let it get by him quite as easily, but he can't be defended everywhere at once. Well, he can try to be. And, no, actually, it will work for now. Oh, my gosh, this APC is getting so close, but the engineer packs up the MCV. And, all right, we're safe. Shocktreatment has been able to hold the line, and Shock Treatment, on the other hand, is going to be taking the opportunity to step on forward. He's going to have to clear out that logistics center, which has 2 sniper teams inside of it for Shocktreatment, doing some serious anti-infantry damage for Team Blue on the right side of the map. We're going to be dropping rocket squads and riflemen directly onto the front line, completely shutting down this attack from Shock Treatment. So Shock and Shock trading blows in the middle of the map, but Shock coming out slightly ahead. It's a shocking result. I know you knew it was coming at some point. Going to be setting up a couple of foxholes right in the middle of this base is very annoying and very funny to just kind of be able to hold into the tib field a little bit better. This is a lot of watchtowers going to be going down from Shock Treatment, going to make this position a little bit more difficult to break, as these rocket squads are in good numbers to potentially do some serious damage to some of these harvesters. They haven't been able to actually kill any of the harvesters just yet. Even the Predator tanks are mostly escaping with their lives, but Shocktreatment isn't backing off just yet. He's continuing to push on forward bit by bit. The sniper team's doing massive damage against the anti-infantry units of Shock Treatment. Those rifleman squads are not able to clear out the rockets like Shock Treatment would like, and as a result, Shocktreatment is able to push ever further forward, and now he's going to get his first harvester kill, and nope, barely it will escape for the current moment. It looks like an Orca strike might be coming in for Shocktreatment, as he is going to be trying to capitalize on some splash damage. Won't quite be able to do too much with it as a sonic emitter comes down, and even some Orcas, some regular old Orcas, going to be going for the kills. 2 harvesters down, and a third may be eliminated. I don't think he has necessarily enough missiles, but he's going to get it very low before having to return to base, and more Orcas going to be coming in while the front line is continuing to getting pressured. That sonic emitter doing what it can to hold the line. Even some Predator tanks might end up taking some damage, but there's no anti-air here for shock treatment, so he's just getting shredded by the superior forces of Shocktreatment. As he gets pushed back, a Juggernaut goes down, a Harvester goes down, Predator tanks are getting destroyed left, right, and center. And even if this attack gets pushed back, so much damage has already been done, and this is a terrible place to call in reinforcements. Although with surrounding that sonic emitter, it doesn't actually kill any of them before it's too late. So another Harvester going down. Shocktreatment just has no money left. There's no way that he is going to have anything left after these Orcas finish off his last Harvester. Another Harvester does get produced, but even the sonic emitter is getting targeted down by these Orcas, and the reinforcements may be able to finish it off. Barely. They will go down. But everything is turning up Shocktreatment. Half of a field has not been harvested by Shocktreatment. This is so much money that he wants to pour into his army, that he wants to pour into his tech, that he wants to pour into upgrades that he is unable to do anything with. And once these Orcas come back to the front line, there's no tier 2. There's not a lot to do with anti-air. This is just too bad for Shocktreatment. He was able to use an engineer to grab one of those Juggernauts, and he has a couple of rocket squads, but this is 8 Orcas. 8 Orcas hunting Harvesters, going for kills on Juggernauts, getting bits of damage here and there. Not actually going to be able to get the kill on the Juggernaut somehow because the repairs are just barely enough to keep them alive, but the Orcas all escape. It's free and clear for Shocktreatment. Again, harvesting his opponent's field. It is not a kind thing to do, stealing money from directly in front of your opponent, but if you can get away with it, I mean, heck, even forcing your opponent to blow up some of their own Tiberium on accident, it's not a lot, but it's a little. Another Harvester onto the front lines could be here for some crushes to allow these rocket troopers to do a little bit more damage. And no, that Harvester is like, oop, I am getting on out of there. I wish I could see a kill count for how much damage this logistics center has actually been able to do for Shocktreatment, as Shocktreatment calls the GG, and Game 3 goes to Shocktreatment. Again, Team Blue coming out ahead and putting himself into a match point position. One more win, it's into the finals. Which, by the way, if you haven't already seen the other semifinals, I won't say who's in the finals, but I do know what the result of that series is. And either one of these guys, it is going to be a great best of 7 that we're going to be checking out after this. But we have to finish this best of 5, and Shocktreatment, once again, he's the king of the resources graph. And Shocktopus, Shocktreatment, just not able to make it happen income-wise. And great use of Orcas, great control, the recognition that there's no anti-air, that the only anti-air is rocket squads, that the Tier 2 gets sold off by a lot of players because it doesn't have any upgrades, it doesn't have a real good reason to stick around, you get the cash back for it once you go into that Tier 3, and then suddenly 8 Orcas show up, you have no Harvesters, Shocktreatment is out of that game. This is his last stand. Can he bring it back in game number 4? Which takes us to Tournament Coastline, a map that I've always liked. I don't have any real good reason for it. It's not like I played a ton of matches on it and I thought it was far superior, but I don't know, I like the layout of it. I like the way that it's got kind of these sneaky tip spikes that are way out on like islands or peninsulas or something. And I guess it's not an island, but whatever. I just like this map. Anyways, I'm glad to see it here in this best of 5, here in the semis of For the Brotherhood number 10. And in the top left-hand corner, as the Cyan GDI, this is Shocktreatment, up 2-1 in this best of 5. And going crane first with double refinery, this is the pink nod, Shocktreatment. The shickety shock of this series will not be denied. And I like that there's just a little bit of, like, land that sticks out, just like a touch. But, you know, I don't think you can actually do anything with that, just like little details that are completely useless. No extra refineries, but instead it's going to be 2 engineers. Huh, okay, so the war factory's in the south. That's not something you see very often, but obviously it can, you know, if you get your second field up quickly, You get those APCs. This can become the focus of where all of your units are coming from. So dropping the first war factory there can make sense. It, of course, means that your extra harvesters up north are going to be delayed pretty significantly. Rifleman Squad manages to get all the way, I assume, to this garrisonable structure for Shocktreatment. He's going to be trying to kill any loose harvesters, and it's the MCV move for Shocktreatment. So he's going directly to kind of the third field location, which is a more aggressive expansion path, but it of course means that your third field now becomes the safe field. So while this is the more traditional expansion path, where you go directly north or south, this also has some advantages for Shocktreatment. So once again, Shocktreatment is being a sneaky, sneaky boy. Okay, so he's walking that engineer, so that engineer probably could have got going a while ago. Rocket squads, they're not going to be able to get the kill on the APC immediately. That APC needs to do something. That APC needs to do something because there are 4 rocket troopers killing it. The refinery gets sold off, the engineer gets eliminated, the APC gets eliminated. Perfect response there for Shocktreatment, but a weird delay from Shocktreatment. Treatment is not at all worried about that tip spike in the north, at least not at the current moment. He is not concerned with capturing it. He may end up sending an engineer, and he will end up losing that engineer if it's a loose engineer without like a Black Hand squad to clear out that building or something to deal with that Rifleman squad. And it's just going to be 2 refineries, 2 harvesters in the north, which is kind of a surprisingly weak economy in the northern field for Shocktreatment, but he does have the crane in the south. The 1 watchtower does get dropped down, going to be forcing these bikes north and forcing these bikes to go to the main base of Shocktreatment, where currently there's 1 watchtower going to be waiting. Lots of power plants, no real open angles, but not a lot of harvesters either. So getting 2 harvester kills, it's nice, but it's not a game-winning move necessarily. Most of the economy is there on the natural expansion for Shocktreatment. Which, I mean, you know, the same will be said for Shocktreatment as this game goes on a little bit longer. 1 harvester taking a bit of damage here, but 2 bikes do go down. The buggy already was eliminated, and these bikes are going to be forced away for now. So, not a real big deal one way or the other. And the engineer gets into a carry-all because he spots that Rifleman squad. So that's funny that he had to get the carry-all. There's the air tower. He's sticking it around for a couple of moments. It could just be for the mine drop. And the call for transport going to allow that engineer to have a very delayed capture of that tip spike. And that's the safe expansion that I was talking about for Shocktreatment. He's got just the 1 MCV, so it's going to be the backwards build. But of course, he does have that crane for the extra Q, just in case he needs it. Main field's starting to dry up. Of course, it's going to last a little bit longer for Shocktreatment, whereas the second field is going to be a little bit more quickly harvested for him because that's where all of his harvesters are. This 1 harvester taking a lot of damage while it was unloading the Tiberium, but for now it's safe as Shocktreatment marshals more and more forces on the front line, looking directly at Shocktreatment's economy at the real main base of Shocktreatment. A scan does reveal some harvesters, but there's not enough DPS here to actually do anything about it. The forces of Shocktreatment are starting to kind of fall apart here, as those rocket squads will be the serious death of that Orca, as well, the Orca will be the serious death of those rocket squads, as that was kind of a waste of an Orca strike. He was trying to go for harvesters, ended up just getting a couple of rocket squads. The Scorpion tanks helped clear out this force. And those Rifleman squads, they can step on forward, but they're going to die as avatars are now on the front line. And ooh, looks like 2 refineries may have gone down there for Shocktreatment. An early mistake that a player may make, but most players tend to learn from those mistakes that they make and place their refineries a little further apart as Orcas come to tear these harvesters apart. And, you know, rhyming words with the same words is the highest skill that there is. And that 1 tip spike does end up going down. A little bit unfortunate there for Shocktreatment, but what can you do? You gotta live your life, and losing that tip spike does not feel good. Losing this attack also doesn't feel good. He's trying to do what he can with those Orcas to try and even things up. Ooh, a couple of stealth tanks being mixed in as well for these guys. Predator tanks gonna be moving forward. Venoms with the laser capacitors doing what they can. But looks like it's just a couple of infantry squads causing that battle marker way up north. Shocktreatment without really a strong attacking force. Oh, man. One refinery down, a second one very low on HP, and a third down to half health as Shocktreatment can't keep his economy up and rolling on this field. Orca's now going to be hunting harvesters, and they will be able to get one very nicely there. A little bit of overkill, and the second one will survive because of that overkill with those missiles. Venom's now going to be pulling back. They're doing what they can to thin the herd of infantry. Most of the buildings have been sacrificed, which means there's no easy protection for this infantry, and it's Predator tanks versus avatars. And, I mean, these are not the numbers of Predator tanks that you would need to take on that few avatars, but you need way more firepower as the GDI player to be able to step on forward. Even the Venoms clearing out all of those rocket squads just mean that Shocktreatment is going to be in that much stronger of a position. Even a stealth tank getting a couple of volleys off, getting a couple of shots off on these harvesters, going to be able to take down a harvester 3/4 full of Tiberium, stopping that income from coming in for Shocktreatment. Venom step forward once again. They get lots of kills on these rocket squads, maybe even getting the sniper team. Yeah, they got that sniper team as well. And trading out a couple of Venoms for this many rocket squad kills is actually going to be worth it because, of course, the Predator tanks are no match for the avatars. The Juggernauts are no match for the avatars once they get up close and personal. So clearing out the one thing that can give avatars a bit of trouble, the rocket squads, is absolutely worth it for Shocktreatment, especially considering the economic advantage that he's currently at. Especially considering the damage that his stealth tanks are doing. And here in game number 4, Shocktreatment is doing an excellent job of carving things back, of pulling himself into this series. And he may have enough strength left in him to take us to an ace match. As Shocktreatment has put forward some pretty impressive games, and he is definitely not out of this just yet. He's just down in most respects. 3 Juggernauts versus 6, 7 avatars, and of course the economy still potentially under threat from Shocktreatment. He just hasn't been able to harvest all of the Tiberium that is under his control. And you want to keep the Venoms alive. You don't want to give away too many of them. But mine drop directly on top of those Juggernauts. One of them goes down. A second gets eliminated, which means just 2 Juggernauts remain. And they're getting taken down by the laser capacitor Venoms, which actually have survived for the most part. They haven't totally survived, but they have enough numbers still to be a threat, which actually they were able to clean up, again, a lot of the rocket squads from Shocktreatment. Even a Pitbull here to try and clear the ground. And ooh, these Orcas, they're taking a bit of damage. It doesn't look like they'll go down, but those Venoms have saved the harvesters. And that was a little bit of a wasted cash with the radar scan, but not enough to really be problematic. The Orcas coming in once again. The Pitbulls are here to finish the job, so even if the Orcas weaken the Harvesters, the Pitbulls hopefully will be able to finish them off, but one Avatar could totally stop those Pitbulls in their track. They don't even necessarily need to, as this is so many Avatars taking out the Juggernauts, and they're going to be able to march on this Sonic Emitter. They're going to be able to snipe it down so quickly, and the Venoms coming in to deal with the Rocket Squads. The AA turret may be able to tear these Venoms apart, but they won't be able to stop this many Avatars. The Rocket Squads have mostly been eliminated. The War Factory for Shocktreatment has been knocked down. And this Orca Strike, I think, is going to be too little too late, as even Vertigo's doing some damage to Shocktreatment. And no, that was actually a great Orca Strike, about as good of an Orca Strike as you could possibly ask for, but it's not enough to stop this onslaught of Avatars. Although, if he can bleed him dry with the Orcas could even things up. He needs to buy more time. He needs maybe another minute or 2 to stop these Avatars from just ravaging his base. But no, the body blocking with the barracks doesn't seem to be enough. The Sonic Emitter doing some good DPS, but it's not enough. And the Orcas didn't have enough time to get enough bombing runs in to stop this Avatar army. And now the Avatars could literally stomp these Harvesters to death if they wanted to, but that will do it. Shocktreatment out of game number 4, and we go into another ace match, another 2-2 situation, as Shocktreatment claims another victory. That victory in game number 1 was not as confident. It was not as thorough as the victory here in game number 4. So what we've seen in this series, Shocktreatment, his only win up to this point, was the one game that Shocktreatment botched, but now we have a confident, strong win from Shocktreatment, showing us that he is still in this game. And that will do it for game number 4. Game number 5, the ace match, the decider, who goes into the finals of For the Brotherhood 10. Which takes us to Tournament Arena for the ace match for the decider of this series. In the top left-hand corner as the pink screen, this is Shocktreatment. And in the bottom right-hand corner, as the shadow rushing cyan nod, this is Shocktreatment. Who will move on to the finals? Who will be able to stand in the best of 7 against the other player in this tournament for, of course, the cash prize for first place? Both of these guys could do it. In the last tournament, it was Shocktreatment. He is the defending runner-up, you could say. And these buzzers missing those shadow teams exactly. One set of shadow teams here. That power plant dead. Well done there by Shocktreatment. Sells off the the portal there, and could be a power plant up here. But no, it's nothing. Yeah. Well, Gunwalker is going to try and hunt down these shadow teams, but Shocktreatment pulls it back just a little bit there because that is where he's dropping his power plant. And of course, you can suicide. You'll probably get the power plant before the shadow teams go down, and you just need one surviving member to be able to get the kill on that power plant. And just like that. But this other power plant will end up going down as well, which takes the Buzzer Hive offline. And it does mean that, this one Shadow Team member survives, at least for the current moment, from Shocktreatment. A nice opening. A lot of times that Shadow Team rush doesn't actually get very much value. It doesn't actually do very much, but it's dual refineries on the blue tib, which is a great move there for Shocktreatment, and it's a great follow-up for him, while it's just the slow base crawl to the green field for Shocktreatment. Once again, the shadow teams are still alive. The Buzzer Hive was sold off, which means that power plant is vulnerable to another attack potentially coming in here for Shocktreatment. And buying time is very important for Shocktreatment. He's had the significantly weaker army for the entirety of this game, and now that there's a Gunwalker and a couple of Seekers out on this field, that could be the army advantage that Shocktreatment needs to get himself into Tier 3, to get himself into the late game. As he doesn't necessarily need to win right now. Shocktreatment, if he can stay ahead into the late game, then he could just overwhelm his opponent, as we saw Shocktreatment do on Pipeline Problems. He's going to be going for the kill on the Harvesters, and when he sees this, he's like, oh, all of your Harvesters are up north. You went for the blue tib. You didn't go for your main base or the natural expansion. You put all of your stuff up in the north. Seeker tanks and Gunwalkers going to be trading blows with these Scorpion tanks. With the base defenses, it'll help swing things into favor of the Scorpion tanks, but in a straight-up fight, the numbers should be on the side of Shocktreatment. Although this is more and more Scorpion tanks coming down from the north from the triple War Factory production. The power plant goes down once again. Power plants ordinarily are not the biggest of deals, but they are a big deal when you have so few of them, when your production has been hampered more than once in this game by the sniping of these power plants. And every little advantage that Shocktreatment can get to try and even up the army score, to try and even up the numbers and push them into his favor, he needs to take. This is the exact right move from Shocktreatment, and oh my gosh, a nerve center going down directly in front of him, and he has 3 shadow teams right there able to take it down mere moments after it was constructed, mere moments after, I assume, the tech lab, the tech center was on the way. Or I guess the technology assembler was on the way there, which puts the Tier 3 that much more delayed for Shocktreatment, as I assume it's going to be coming down here shortly from, no Tier 2, so actually resetting things for Shocktreatment, put things on even footing with Shocktreatment, as he has just been building a ton of Scorpion tanks. Adding in some buggies as well with his constant production. Doesn't want to get overwhelmed by descents from Shocktreatment. He doesn't want to leave any gaps in his armor or any problems in his unit composition. And once again, the nerve center may get sniped. Yes, it does go down a little bit more costly there, as that buzzer hive was able to get the kill on every single one of the shadow teams except for this one guy. But again, resetting that tech count is so frustrating for Shocktreatment. He's just been reset twice with that, as a big Scorpion tank army is pressing in on the front line. And this is a lot of descents mixed in here, which are doing some good damage. But, of course, with the buggies here to save the day, those Scorpion tanks don't have too much to worry about. They can focus on the Seeker tanks rather than dealing with the descents. With a photon cannon on the front line, maybe Shocktreatment can hold the line, but it's going to be at great cost. He has not been able to play this game his way. With more reinforcements coming in here, things are coming up more and more Shocktreatment, and Shocktreatment is fighting it out to the bitter end with a second photon cannon and more descents just going into the guns of Shocktreatment, getting no actual value, getting no actual damage. The forces of Shocktreatment decide to turn north, where they, unlike the descents, can do more and more damage. They can take out a refinery, they can take out harvesters, as the forces of Shocktreatment mount a paltry and somewhat useless defense. One refinery does go down, and for now, Shocktreatment will be pushed back. But he is delayed. Shocktreatment, rather, will be pushed back. He has delayed Shocktreatment so much. He's going to try and pull down to the south. He's going to try and potentially kill some of these harvesters as they go for the harvesting on the edge of the field. Buggy's going to be pushing forward to catch the descents, to let the Scorpion tanks do the real damage to the infrastructure and to the forces of Shocktreatment, as the Seeker tanks just get annihilated. Even the photon cannons don't have enough to stand up against this many Scorpion tanks. The phase comes down, and the crushes could be perfect here, but no, the dozer blades being activated as well, which don't matter when you're getting crushed, but only one Scorpion tank getting crushed by that Annihilator tripod. Stasis Chamber does lock some of these guys down, but it's not enough to stop the assault, to stop the onslaught from Shocktreatment. The photon cannon isn't enough. The drone ship is now under threat, as the damage is just pouring out from these guns. One Annihilator tripod may be able to slowly work down this army, but it's not going to be enough to save the drone ship. In this phase, tripod is not even going for the crush, as one storm column is the legacy, as laser capacitors get added onto this army. And Shocktreatment hasn't won this game yet, but he is on death's door. He has put Shocktreatment on death's door, rather. He is knocking and, taking out two refineries, meaning this refinery and this refinery are the only income points. Well, I guess this refinery up here, which actually does represent a fair amount of Tiberium. Those are the only income points for Shocktreatment. Everything is coming up Shocktreatment in this game, from the Shadow Team rush being able to extend out longer than it ordinarily would and do more damage, to the fact that he's burning down a power plant with just a Black Hand squad, and the buzzer squad rather, is so delayed in getting to it that it actually snipes the buzzer squad as it comes close. And this is just pain point after pain point for Shocktreatment. He's got the Shocktreatment has the crane down in the south. I did forget about that. So he does still have some opportunity, but it's just looking down. I mean, he can build buildings, but he needs units. He needs money. And this is just a slaughter of harvesters. Laser capacitors, even handing off a full heroic status to one of those Scorps. Shocktreatment is going to fight it out to the bitter end if he can pull together some incredible defense. Maybe with shock troopers. It would be nice if he could get force fields on these Annihilator tripods. It would give him some extra power and an extra couple of shots to be absorbed. But now, wow. 5 avatars, a 6th and a 7th joining the fray as number 8 and 9 get produced. This is just so much firepower. Even going to be splitting his army into 2 primary groups groups, Scorpion tanks in the south, while Avatar's pressure in the north. This is going to be overwhelming forces for Shocktreatment. It's going to be a miracle hold for Shocktreatment to keep this game alive beyond the next minute, as even the heroic Scorpion tank marching in here to do the damage to those tripods as everything gets eliminated. GG gets called, and it's into the finals. Go Shocktreatment. We have our second finalist for the Brotherhood, number 10, and we are going to be taking a look at that best of 7 coming up in just a day or two from the time of upload. What a great series Shocktreatment and Shocktreatment have shown us here with the discounted game number 1, which was a bit of a wash. The rest of these matches have been great from these guys. And as we can see, Shocktreatment actually ahead in the income a bit, but it did not matter. And man, that blue tib really helps make up for a lot in Shocktreatment's favor. But then, of course, somewhere in the middle, Shocktreatment in his favor. Shocktreatment was able to get his own blue tib and harvest it all, and that is where he probably pulled ahead there. That will do it for this best of 5. Big congratulations to Shocktreatment for making it to the finals. And of course, Shocktreatment, another great showing in a tournament from him. That will do it for this series. This is Sybert, signing out.